Hey everybody, this is Dr. Sandy. I have another Zoom tonight, and I want to welcome everybody. We have some more people that are going to be joining us here briefly. Sorry for the late start. We always have to anticipate. Sometimes we have snafus that happen. Let me see who I've got back on the Zoom so far. All right, so I have Miss Peg, and then I believe Jessica's going to be joining us soon. And we also have a special guest that's coming on as well. We have Mr. Strickland, and he's coming on right now. And Miss Jessica Seitz is going to be on in just a moment. I want to welcome you guys.
Hey.
Hi. I'm just waiting for Miss Jessica to come on. So I wanted to welcome you. I know that it's been kind of like a short notice, and I appreciate you taking the time out to spend with us. And I apologize for the snafus. We always got to be careful on, what, sometimes with our computer and stuff like that, then, technology has always got to have some sort of difficulties. I think we're pretty much aware of that. So I'm just waiting for Jessica to come on. Let me just starting. So we might have a couple more people that are going to join with us tonight. Tonight we have Jessica Wayland, Dr. Wayland, that is in the she's in the listening and watching and seeing what's happening. She's checking everything out. So I'm just waiting for Jessica to come on. So Miss Peg, I want to welcome you. We talked briefly about your situation. I also have Joshua Strickland. I'm sure a lot of people will recognize him. Thank you very much for coming. And we are, tonight's going to be about anonymous reporting, but of course this isn't very anonymous tonight. So, and I appreciate you guys having the courage enough to come on here to be able to discuss what has happened to you, because I know it's not easy. And what your story is going to do is bring something more for somebody that is going through the same thing that you went through, and to be able to feel a little bit more, they're not alone. And so I really appreciate you coming on to share with us. So who would like to go first? Peg or Josh?
Go ahead, Peg.
All right, Miss Peg. So thank you again for coming on. And so you mentioned you're in the DC area?
Yes.
Okay. I'm familiar with that area.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind, if you could please give me a little, just avoid like anything with employer names, anything that's pointing somebody out. If you could please, just kind of be vague a little bit.
Okay, you said be vague or be specific?
Be vague when it comes to your employer. Yeah.
I was working in our city hospital, and I was there like about 12 years, roughly 12, 13. And I had a patient like just totally go off on me. She was supposed to be under observation, and for some reason the nurse, we like a new nurse being oriented by a nurse that was under a year experience, and they didn't know that this person should be one-to-one observation when she came in for suicide. And so anyway, she got up and was trying to leave the building. On her way out the door, on her way past me, I had just come in at 11 o'clock at night. I didn't even know what's happening in the department yet. But when I saw her go past me, I thought, that's not right. She doesn't look like somebody she's in discharge. And she started banging on windows and banging on glass at the ambulance entrance. And I thought she was going to break it. So I went over there and I tried to stop her and hold her, see what's going on. figure out, how to keep her safe. Police officer and I were both over there with her, and we were trying to like lead her back in from the foyer. She never left the building. So anyway, she wound up getting really aggressive. My knee twisted and popped, and then we got her back in the building by getting more police officers to get her in. Really cute. We put her down in a wheelchair. As we started to bring her back in the building, she put her feet around the sides of the wheelchair and put her toes into the spokes so we couldn't push the wheelchair. So we had to carry the wheelchair. And got her back into the bay. And then the nurses were upset saying, you can't bring me another patient. I'm like, she goes, my patient's still in the room. You can't bring me another patient. I'm like, I'm not bringing you a patient. It's the same one. So it was really bad. So anyway, after my knee got injured, I was on and off of light duty, out for surgery and back in work. And, it just, if you've been working night shift, the last thing you need to do is work days. And when you've worked 3 days a week, to have to go 5 days a week is also kind of like horrible. So they mess with your schedule. It's very demoralizing. The workers' comp surgeon that they had me seeing was horrible. And for some reason, he didn't see that the damage was a torn ACL. So he just did a meniscus repair. Then they found out that we had to let you heal for 6 months so we can try to do the next surgery because we discovered we should be doing something else. And then he kind of messed up that surgery. And the next thing I know, I'm being evaluated to go back on work again. And I just couldn't work. My knee felt horrible. I had it wasn't working. So anyway, in order to get the surgery I actually need, I saw a doctor for a second opinion, and then I had to use that in order to get a settlement. So in the process of getting a settlement to get the surgery that I ultimately needed, they also made me resign from working with the hospital that I had been at for so long.
So you had to resign from the hospital?
Yeah. If I wanted a settlement, then I needed to resign. So I resigned in the settlement process. Stupid. But the surgeons were better that I got to choose my own. And ultimately I'm back at work now, and I'm, it's really frustrating. But
you also sent me pictures too.
Yeah, that was the patient that kicked me. So I left working in DC after the knee injury. I was working in Virginia then, and then a patient kicked me in the face that had a police officer on each side of the gurney. And I told the officers I needed to draw her blood to get her cleared for a psych hospital admission.
Hold on, I'm going to try something real quick.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to just mute a couple people down.
Oh, okay.
Just to see if it's anything with like the feedback from other people, because we have quite a few people on. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I was working at another hospital, and I felt like, this is good. This better, there's better laws in this state. But that didn't even matter. There was a police officer on both sides of the gurney. I needed to draw this lady's blood for a psych admission clearance. When the officers were standing at the side of the beds, I said, watch her feet. Because I don't know, I just had the sixth sense, So I told him, I said, watch her feet so she doesn't kick. Next thing I know, I had my foot in my face and my glasses were knocked off. I was near a wall, so she kicked my head and it went back into the wall, and I wound up having a concussion, black eye, off work a couple of days because of that. And so the police officers wrote up an arrest for her. She came in. I had a subpoena to come in as a witness and everything. And then the first time I went to court to see, what's going to happen in this, state with laws, and she didn't show up. So then they put out another court date. The second court date, she still didn't show up. And then the third court date didn't happen because the police officer who wrote it up that night, he didn't work with Prince William County anymore. He worked as a Capitol police officer. So it dropped. That's where it went.
So it just kind of just left, just dropped altogether.
Yep.
Also, hey, Jessica, I just wanted to get things rolling because I know you got a lot going on and stuff like that. So thank you for coming on. I know that it's this computer glitch stuff. So thank you, Peg. I'm going to jump over to Joshua. I really appreciate you sharing your story. I know that, we went back and forth a little bit. Jessica, do you have any questions? Let me unmute. I just was trying to cut down on seeing where this noise might be coming from. Okay, Jessica, did I unmute you? I'm sorry.
I don't, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi. No, I don't have any questions as of right now. I was just listening to her story, and thank you for sharing. I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, that was horrible. I mean,
I know.
Wow.
It makes you wonder, what you're in this for, but honestly, every day I drove it to work, I always wanted to be there. I still feel that way. I'm driving to work. I'm not dreading it. I'm not, my heart's in the right place, apparently, because when you don't want to be somewhere, you don't enjoy the drive there. I enjoy the drive to work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to deal with that traffic, you must got to love your job.
Yeah. And then to have to do it 5 nights a week instead of 3.
That was so bad.
I will say, I must say, I do love Ben's Chili Bowl down there in DC.
There's some really good places.
So I did have one more question. So your employer was, they did give you light duty. They gave you that option to at least be able to still work instead of stay at home and,
Yeah.
So how did you feel about, how would you feel about if you had to stay home instead of going into work?
It was demoralizing because, you kind of felt like you were, yes, less useful. It was a little more foreign, like to have been out for a couple of months and then coming back after surgery. Like you're fumbling with things like, what was my password? I don't remember my password anymore.
Oh yeah, I get that.
Who updated the icons? You can't find stuff in this system where it used to be, and so you have all that. You got to refamiliarize with tech. You got to refamiliarize with, oh yeah, this is how a lure lock works. Oh yeah, got that. But it does when you've been off for a couple of months, you come back and things that you were really familiar with feel foreign again. I think the first person, like my first night, the first light duty they gave me was actually back in triage in the ER again. And that's exactly where I got assaulted. And I was just so shocked. I'm like, how can you call this light duty, first off? Because triage in an ER that sees the volume we did in inner city, we're always boarding patients. We have a whole bunch of hallway beds all the time. And that's light duty. It's not.
Yeah, right.
And let alone, it's the same place that I was when I got assaulted. So it was kind of, messed with your head a little, but it really if you work night shift, you have your whole life designed to function, with, your kid trade-offs, who's watching kids, who's picking kids up, all that is built.
Right. Get it.
Right. So then to have somebody from nights be forced onto days was horrible, because I have 5 kids. A lot of them, 2 of them have a lot of doc appointments. So now I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't get them to their appointments. Husbands might either gone or deployed or whatever. And I'm like, this is not cool. It's not working out for me anymore.
Right. Well, so do you have any, so how do you keep yourself going? Like, as far as like, is it, what keeps you motivated every day?
Oh, right now, look, I've gone back to working with travel nursing.
Okay.
And that's given me a lot of more flexibility, source of income. But the large hospital that I was working in has so many hospitals in this area that actually to have been forced to resign from that hospital is a big thing, because they've got 12 of the hospitals out in this area. So it's not like I can easily go and apply anywhere. It takes off a lot of the places that we are near, takes a lot of them off the list of possible employers.
I understand that. When I lost my rotation, it was very hard trying to find another place that had a DNP, doctorally prepared nurse, to be able to get precepted by. So I was gracious. I was very, psychologist decided, after I literally messaged everybody that was a DNP on LinkedIn and tried to work in that direction, to try to get somebody to help me. I, of course, got shot down from the school, and I had literally had to move to Orlando, which is 2 hours, more east, in order to be able to have that capability to have preceptors and for my residency. So I understand, it's like your hands are tied. You don't have any other place to go, and you just travel seems like, so that's a good fit for you right now because of the flexibility and stuff like that. Awesome. All right, I'm going to jump over to Josh. I'm sorry.
Stuff that way.
Huh?
I don't have to worry about a lot of the politics in a hospital anymore that way.
Amen. All right, I'm going to switch over to Josh. Thank you so much, Peg. I really appreciate you. All right, let me get him unmuted. All right. Okay. All right, Josh. Thank you very much. Jessica.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to let you go ahead and talk to Mr. Josh, since you guys have such
I'm so excited about this.
Oh, Lord, here we go again.
I know. Every time you think you're getting rid of me, I'm back.
I know. What's up?
I'm like white on rice.
You ain't lying.
So Joshua and I were introduced via, I don't know, social media, I guess, via Facebook. I had no idea who Joshua was, and a mutual Facebook friend reached out to me and asked me if I would help this gentleman that I knew nothing about. Said that she felt really bad for him and that he could maybe use my help. And I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to help this gentleman? So I looked into his story, and this happened, I'm going to guess it's about 2.5, maybe almost 3 months ago, Joshua?
Yeah, probably about 3 months ago.
And I researched it, looked into it, and long story short, I'll let Joshua get into the specifics of it, but something happened to Joshua on social media that in turn got him flagged by his employer. So I'm going to let him share his story, but the reason that they reached out to me was because they felt that I had a little bit more of a social media platform so that we can maybe bring some attention to some of these issues that are going on. So I did a little bit of a video with Joshua on my page, Nurse Jessica Sites, and I'm going to let Joshua take it away and kind of tell his story and tell what happened to him.
Absolutely. So So basically, I had just started a new position. I was on a med psych floor at this hospital called St. Oh, well, we said to leave the names out. Sorry about that. So anyways,
You did.
but
It's okay. You're good.
oh yeah, so St. Luke's. And anyway, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. And so anyways, so I had never been a psych nurse, and so this floor was really cool because I had a pretty solid medical, like clinical background as far as nursing, but I didn't have a psych background per se. I mean, other than whenever a psych patient would present, obviously we'd have to deal with it, but like dealing with folks that were court ordered treatment, things like that. It was so it was a pretty unique experience. And so nonetheless, basically try to make a long story short, when I was rounding on all the patients in the morning, part of your normal med pass and getting them all up and at it is doing like a quick mental status exam. So how are you feeling today? What would you rate your depression? Are you feeling suicidal? How do what's going on mentally? And anyway, the patient said, yeah, I'm not, as she said, my depression's probably like a 2 or 3. My anxiety is maybe 5 or 6. I'm not really feeling suicidal today. And so I said, well, all right, well, that's good. I said, so is there anything I can help you with? Yeah, you can F off and die. And I was like, all right, we'll continue to monitor, and I said, yes, ma'am, I'll try my best. And
Try my best to die today.
yeah, I'll try my best to die today. And so just kind of carried on with it. And anyway, so as I was getting off the unit, I wasn't even on the unit anymore, but I was on a lunch break, and I had snapped a selfie of myself, and in the background, you could see, like, if you like superimposed it, pretty much, and blew it all up and all that other fun stuff, because I had blurred out my badge, because I blurred it out because I had the barcode scanner
Right.
on it. So I didn't want, all these super sleuths and tech wizards out there to somehow get my barcode info. And so I blurred it all out. And but if you like super maximize the photo, there was the S for Steward Healthcare in the background on a wall. And but like you couldn't even see it if you didn't blow it up. I mean, because I'll get into that in a second. So then I posted it on Nurses with Cards. By the way, love Kelly England. She's cool. Anyways, so we've had many conversations about it, and so anyways, it went viral, immediately, because everybody was laughing. Everybody's like, oh, that's a normal Tuesday, oh, that's hilarious. I mean, it got like 6,000 or 7,000 hits like within 6 hours. It was insane. And like, I think it was probably the most viral thing ever on Nurses with Cards. And
ladies were finding you cute, so that didn't hurt either.
Yeah, that's it. And so yeah, and so because I'm one of the few and the proud sexy nurses out there. Us,
yes, that's another thing. There's a lot of females in that group. So for
and us male nurses got to stick together.
Yeah.
And so
we all have to stick together.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so but anyways, so nonetheless, back to the story. So so it went viral nonetheless. And so the next day, as I get to work around 10 or 11 o'clock, the nurse manager calls me in and says, hey, Josh, HR wants to talk to you. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, and I had been there. I had just finished my preceptorship, but that was like one of my first 1 or 2 days on the floor by myself at that facility. And so anyways, so I go up to HR, and obviously I'm sweating bullets because nobody likes to go to HR. And so I go in there and they say, Josh, do you know what Nurses with Cards is? And I'm like, yeah. You know, I said, wow, what's going on? They said, did you post something on Nurses with Cards, you know, saying that patient tells you to go F off and die? And I said, yeah. I said, I didn't violate HIPAA. I didn't disclose any sort of patient information or anything, or bash the hospital or say anything derogatory in any manner whatsoever. And they said, well, we agree. So we're just going to get you off with a warning. No harm, no foul. I'm like, all right, cool. So I'm like, you know, I understand, you know, won't happen again. And so move on. So I go down to back on the floor, carry on about my day. Then around 4 o'clock, they call me up. Now, mind you, all the charting had been done. Everybody had already had everything done, you know, so basically they didn't have to call in registry or float somebody else. But so they come back down at 4 o'clock and they say, Josh, HR and the house soup wants to see you. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go up, meet with the house soup and HR, and he said, Josh, we submitted our recommendation as just a warning to corporate, but corporate overrode our decision. So with that being said, we're going to have to terminate you. And I said, what? I said, so y'all call me down and then tell me that I'm not fired. Then y'all let me finish the rest of the day and then tell me I'm fired because corporate overrode y'all's decision. I said, I never had any sort of reprimand, any sort of verbal counseling, any sort of written counseling, any sort of nothing, you know, right. But Arizona is because I'm originally from South Louisiana, but Arizona is a right to work state. So you can look at somebody wrong and they fire you because the nurses union out here is not really that big unless you work at like the VA or, you know, Department of like the Native Health Services, you know, things like that. They have union reps that kind of mitigate those situations. And so I went home, and basically what had happened was someone from all the way in Massachusetts had blown up this picture, and, you know, where it was all pixelated, the whole 9 yards, and sent it to corporate, and where it could show the Steward Healthcare logo, and because it had gone so viral. So I was like, you know what? I posted back on Nurses with Cards that said, you know, because of this, you know, I'm now fired. You know, I have children, I have a family, you know, I got bills I got to pay, the whole 9 yards. You know, that whole thing was supposed to be, you know, it's not just Nurses with Cards, it's all these social media platforms are supposed to be an outlet for us as a whole, you know, as a population of nurses to be able to go to a safe place and vent or make a joke or say something. And so I posted that, and that went even more viral. That went
that's what really blew it up.
That went like 30,000 people, if not more. Then at the end of when it was all said and done, like 100,000 people was involved. And so I got like over 2,000 messages in 24 hours. You know, everybody wanted me to be on their podcast. And then Jessica sent me a message saying, hey, I got a YouTube channel. Do you want to do this? I was like, sure, you know, why not? Yeah, I just wanted, at that point, I was out for I hate to say out for blood per se, but I was pissed off. You know, I mean, it was ridiculous because I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't violated HIPAA. Otherwise, the police would have been at my door. You know, I hadn't done anything. And yet here I am, you know, just trying to make a joke out of something, and everybody loves it, and one person just takes it and blows it out of the woodwork, and it went crazy. And so then so then I did a couple podcasts about it, and then Jessica reached out to me and we became buddies, and she asked if I would do on her YouTube channel. So I said, yeah, sure, that'd be cool. And so we made the video, and then the video got a lot of hits and all that other good stuff. And so then
it kept getting hits, and then
yeah,
just thought it would go away. Then
so like I didn't want to be known for that forever. You know, it was like, and like me and Jessica, I love Jessica to death, but her and I would literally butt heads, and I would be like, Jessica, I want to put this behind me. You know, like
we're like brother and sister.
Yeah.
What's that?
Exactly. And so, you know, and I have nothing but love for Jessica, you know, but I was just like, look, you know, it just kept going more and more viral, more and more viral, more and more viral, more and more viral.
But not only that, people were being mean to you, Joshua. And I know you don't want to work on that, but they were. It was relentless.
Oh, it was bad. Relentless. It was bad. I mean, everybody, they called me names out of the sun. I even had a couple messages from, I'm not going to name the group in particular, but from some folks in certain groups that had like these trolls, you know, that would send me messages. And, you know, I was in the Army. I can take a good roasting. You know, I don't have a problem with that. You know, people just, you know, being whatever. But, you know, where I really drew the line and I just tried to disappear from the whole situation was, you know, I got a random message one time from an anonymous user, like wishing harm on my kids. And that's when I was like, you know, because Z-Dog did a story about it. You know, it was everywhere. And, you know, it was like one of the most viral nursing stories of the year, they said. You know, people were talking about it in clinicals and everything, because
I'll tell you, Joshua, like when you and I first met and this all started getting big, that's when I met with Dr. Sandy, and you know, she's trying to help me out and I'm trying to help her page. And I'm like, hey, by the way, some people are sending some hate mail to your page because of me. Like it was awful. Like I'm trying to explain to Dr. Sandy that I'm a good person, and she's getting messages from crazy people saying that I'm evil, and that I heard all sorts of stuff. You and I were in cahoots, that we were in a relationship.
Oh yeah.
It was bad. Stuff. It was horrible. Like
so put it this way. So, you know, one of the big things that everybody told me was that me and like Jessica said, me and her was in a relationship, and we were both quote unquote attention whores.
Yeah, and we planned this.
Trying to promote that we planned this. All this was pre set up, all this other stuff, to the point that you know, a part of like my life is the fact that I'm in a band. So people actually went to my band's page, like to all of the followers on them, and started putting hate mail on there.
Yep.
Then our band, because we have a PR person for our band, so that does all the social media stuff. They posted something about you know, me supporting the cause, because, you know, I'm a singer, I get it, you know, but first and foremost, I'm also a registered nurse with a bachelor's degree of science in nursing. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that, just like everybody else who worked their butts off to get one of those. You know, I take pride in that fact. And so with that being said, you know, there were plenty of nights where I didn't go to sleep because, you know, we had small children, and you know, I was having to study the dang friggin' med-surg book that's like this thick, you know, and so I earned it. I'm proud of that. And so then our band posted a status that I was invited in support of Nurses Against Violence United to LA to go with Dr. Sandy. And then sure enough, that went, you know, that post, because, you know, we have a lot of fans from the music. You know, we had all of our fans that loved it, you know, the whole 9 yards. And so got like 400 something likes. And then sure enough, that got screenshot yet again.
Oh no.
Posted on all these other platforms yet again. And the whole thing went back. So
I have to say something. We are giving a lot of fuel to the negative right now because these people are insignificant. You guys are amazing people.
Yeah.
And Jessica and I have had this conversation with these people who are on my page. They have no business. This is an incorporation. And we have people that are I'm going to go after them legally because they're trying to copy my name. And it's actually trademarked. So I'm going to just sit there and say, when I have people that are actually being targeted, this is when I jump in. I am protecting anybody that's on my page, anybody that has anything to do with my organization, because, and Jessica, you know quite well, the fangs come out when it comes to taking care of my people.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I can appreciate that because I mean, it's already.
That's the first time that I felt safe. I felt safe with Dr. Sandy. Like, she was like, no, I don't care what they're saying. I don't care what names they're calling you. We're shutting it down. She's like, enough is enough. Like this. And I actually, for a moment, felt a sigh of relief. Like I felt comfortable for a minute. Like, thank God, like somebody's listening to me. Somebody is actually getting that I'm not an evil person, that I literally was just trying to share a story. And I felt like accepted. And I have loved Sandy ever since. Like, she didn't know me from Adam, and she trusted me with all of her heart and was like, no, I feel you. I don't know, for, you know, whatever reason, you're a good person. And she's like, this is enough. It's time to shut it down.
Well,
and that's we started shutting it down. And anybody that was hateful and mean and negative and not part of what the organization is about, you gotta go. Gotta go.
Well, and
Yeah,
I can appreciate that because for the last 2 days, literally, I've been on another platform with the screenshot from our band just being proud to send me to LA on behalf of Nurses Against Violence. That post has already been screenshotted and shared on all the platforms, and it's just like, you know what, 99.99% of the nursing community has been absolutely wonderful. Yeah. I mean, they came in, like, during my whole situation, they were strong. I mean, they flooded St. Luke's Facebook page so bad to the point that they had to shut it down. They were calling HR. HR had to turn off their phones. I mean, it was like a trending hashtag. It was just absolutely insane. It was just insane. But there are few people that are out there that are in our population, you know, the nurses, that, you know, it's that old phrase, and I hate the phrase, nurses eat their young. I don't know why I've never liked that phrase, but because it reminds me of like a wolf or something. I don't know why. It's like a wolf eating.
Or like a praying.
They don't know me very well.
Yeah. So like, it's like, but you got like these nurses out there that literally just
mm-hmm.
are evil as people. Like, I have never seen somebody just trash people the way that some of these folks trash me. And it's just like, you know, I'm like one of the easiest guys to get along to. You know, you give me a beer, we'll sit down, we'll talk football, you know, talk nursing, whatever you want to talk about. But, you know, these people talking about wishing harm on my kids and all this other stuff just because my situation went viral, I was like, oh my God, man, this is crazy.
We're not going to give them any more power right now. We're not giving them any more power. No. We're not talking about it. And I don't mean to cut you off, Josh. You just don't know that much about me yet. What you went through was horrible and disgusting, and it's not about what nurses is about. Nursing is not about that at all. So I'm not saying forget what just happened. Just know that this is the culture that has been created. And and we are going to fix this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, a lot of the folks had thought that I was a new grad. I wasn't. I've been an RN for a while. And so, and it wasn't my first job. So I knew the lay of the land and the ropes and all that stuff. But yeah, it was pretty insane, you know, and
you're in good company. You're in good company.
Well,
and I'm
good.
glad, and I'm looking forward to when we find that board position for you, because I feel like you have a lot to offer, especially being a former soldier. And that you can contribute a lot to this post-traumatic stress thing that we have going on in nursing, and that is unresolved. So we have a lot of things going on for us in Nurses Against Violence. And Peg, I don't know if you can hear me right now. I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate you coming on. Also, Joshua, I know I have a long trip tomorrow I need to be taking. And I know you do too, Mr. Josh. And
I am.
And Natalie just said, our friend that helps us with the therapeutic stuff, and also Jenny says it creates PTSD thinking about the past. Okay, thank you, Jenny, for saying that. And Natalie, she's so awesome. People who are miserable struggle to focus on themselves because it requires accountability and responsibility for choices being made in their lives. Beautifully said. So by all means, this has no reflection on you. This actually is a whole reflection on them. And then you're going to rise above, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, with the platform that I have, especially, with the whole music thing, we were fortunate enough to be on Good Morning Arizona not too long ago, about a week or so ago. And we had written a song about PTSD and things like that. And, one of the things that I'm a big advocate for is not just soldiers, that deal with it coming back from the war, but it's your first responders.
Yep.
That, we mentioned that on the news, and I know both hands, how that feels coming as a soldier and as a registered nurse. I mean, it's not, PTSD affects everybody, not just guys coming home from the war. And so that's a big thing that I'm trying to push out there. It's your people in the EDs, your firefighters, your policemen, your medics, first responders, so it's a tough tackle.
We're not considered as first responders. You know that, right?
Well, I'm talking about first responders.
But we should be, because I don't know about you. I drive up on scenes and I'm asking if there's nobody there, I'm there helping them. No.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about anybody that works in the field that we do. Like, you have your first responders, like, your medics, policemen, fire department, but you also have CCRNs, critical care registered nurses that are attached to fire departments that are the first on the scene. I mean, how many times has nurses pulled over and done CPR on the side of the road because somebody just fell out? I mean, that's a common occurrence. So of course you should be considered a first responder.
Mm-hmm. So, there's so many things. Let me see. Is there anything else that people want to ask? Jessica, do you have anything that you would like to add? Jessica, Dr. Whelan, Candy, I think is on here too. If you have anything else that you would like to add, I'm going to start wrapping this up. Joshua, you're amazing. And I'm looking forward to working more with you. And Peg, you're amazing. And I'm looking forward to working with you. And we had a couple more people that were going to be on, and I appreciate them. And we'll see if we can get them on next week. I know it's kind of last minute. We had so many people reaching out to us. So Miss Nurse Jessica.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to make sure that, I'm including you, and I apologize if I got started a little bit when you weren't on, but I wanted to try to keep it rolling.
Oh, no, it's all good, sweetie. Okay. I chimed back in as soon as I could, and I think I chimed in at the right time. So we're fine. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. So is there anything you would like to close with?
No, I'm just happy to be a part of this organization, and I'm happy to still be friends with Joshua, and I'm happy to have made a friendship with you. And I think we're going to continue to make great strides and stuff. So
absolutely.
That's it.
Hey, Peg.
Yeah.
You're sharing your screen with us.
I know. I just realized that.
It's quite attractive. It's quite attractive. Let's see, what do you got on here?
Yeah, let's see. Amazon.
What is she buying?
She's buying she's trying to find some Nurses Against Violence bling. That's what she's trying to find. That's gonna be coming soon. We're looking at like some different ideas, but we need to get donations for that to even happen. So we'll see. So listen, thank you so much for coming, and I still got to pack.
I did find.
All right, girl, represent us, Dr. Sandy.
Do great. I did find the knee repair surgery pictures of like.
Oh, you did?
Stuff, yeah.
Send them to me, and I'll just add it to the whatever. I'll send it to them tonight.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Take care.
All right. See you in Hollywood.
Yes. Woo!